I'm here to share a wild story about how I, a 25-year-old guy, took control of a messed-up situation and decided to walk away from my marriage after my 27-year-old wife went way too far. Let me set the scene. She didn't just say some hurtful things. She humiliated me in front of others while completely trashed, and it wasn't just a little tipsy. She was out of her mind drunk. What she did and said that night crossed a line so big, there was no turning back, and I knew I had to end things. Looking back, it wasn't only her words that cut deep, but the way she disrespected me right in front of our friends, making a fool of me in my own home. It was the kind of public embarrassment that sticks with you, and I couldn't just brush it off. Now, of course, she's coming back, practically on her knees, begging me to give her another chance. She's throwing out excuses like, "I was drunk. I didn't mean it. It wasn't me talking." You've heard that song and dance before, right? But I'm not buying it, not after what went down. Here's the thing I've learned, and I want to make this crystal clear. Alcohol doesn't make you say random nonsense. It's like a megaphone for what's already in your heart or mind, amplifying your real thoughts and feelings. So when she claims it was just the booze talking, I call nonsense. What she said and did that night came from somewhere real, and I'm not naive enough to think otherwise. Let's be real. Outside of cheating, there are still things a person can do or say that are so unforgivable. They break a relationship beyond repair. That's exactly what happened here, and you'll see why as I lay it out. This whole mess has me wondering if I'm wrong for wanting to divorce her over the things she did and said while plastered. But I'll let you decide that for yourself. I got married young, 25, to be exact, and yeah, maybe that was a bit too soon, but live and learn, right? My wife, who's 27, and I had been hitting some rough patches lately. She was going through a really tough time because her dad was terminally ill, and it was breaking her heart. I did my best to be there for her, supporting her every step of the way. No questions asked. I could see how much she was hurting, and I wanted to do whatever I could to ease her pain. One day, she opened up and told me she was desperate to unwind, to just let loose and forget her troubles for a bit. She said she wanted to have some drinks and relax, and I was all for helping her find a little relief. She asked if we could invite some mutual friends over to our place for a chill night, and honestly, I wasn't totally thrilled about it. I'd rather have kept things low-key, but I figured if it would make her happy, I'd go along with it. Big mistake, as it turns out, but I didn't know that yet. So, I invited our friends over, and at first, everything seemed fine. We were hanging out, chatting, and it felt like a normal get-together. But then my wife started hitting the drinks hard, way harder than I expected. With her dad's situation weighing on her, I could tell she was using the alcohol to escape, but it was spiraling fast. She wasn't just tipsy, she was getting sloppy, and I started to worry. I tried to gently nudge her to slow down, suggesting maybe she'd had enough for the night. But she wasn't having it. She brushed me off, and not in a polite way. It was like she was shutting me out completely, either by ignoring me or physically pushing me away when I got close. I didn't know if she was just being stubborn or if it was something worse, but it stung to be dismissed like that in front of everyone. After a while, I gave up trying to rein her in. I didn't want to make a scene, so I just stayed quiet and let her do her thing, hoping she'd burn out soon. Looking back, maybe I should have been firmer, but I was trying to keep the peace. That was my mistake, and it only got worse from there. As she kept pouring herself more drinks, she started getting this giddy, almost reckless energy. I didn't pay too much attention at first. I figured she was just letting loose, and I didn't want to be the fun police. After all, she was supposed to be relaxing, right? But then things took a turn I never saw coming. She got up from her chair, wobbling a bit, and started walking toward me with her arms spread wide. I thought, okay, she's coming in for a big hug, maybe to make up for pushing me away earlier. I started to open my arms, ready to meet her halfway, but then she breezed right past me like I wasn't even there. Instead, she made a beeline for one of our friends sitting on the couch behind me. My stomach dropped as I watched her plop down on his lap. Yeah, his lap, in this suggestive, way too cozy way that made my skin crawl. What came next was even worse. She launched into this long, dramatic speech about how tough her life was, how her dad's illness was crushing her, and how she was so sad. I felt for her, I really did. But then she turned it on me. She started saying, out loud for everyone to hear, that I wasn't satisfying her in the bedroom, that I couldn't make up for her sadness because I wasn't good enough. I stood there frozen as she aired our private life like it was some kind of joke, all while sitting on another guy's lap. Let me be clear, this wasn't just the alcohol talking. Those words, that behavior, it came from somewhere deep inside her, and it was like a knife to my chest. I was in shock, barely able to process what I was hearing. Our friend looked uncomfortable, stuck in this awkward spot, but I was frustrated that he didn't do more to stop her, like push her off or tell her to chill. Instead, she just kept going, rambling for what felt like forever, probably 10 straight minutes, about how I was a terrible husband, a lousy friend, and a failure in bed. 10 minutes of her tearing me apart in front of people we both knew. I was humiliated, angry, and honestly, I wanted to disappear. If I could have walked out right then, I probably would have, but I was too stunned to move. That night changed everything, and as you'll see, it's why I finally decided to take a stand. After my wife's humiliating performance at our house, where she plopped onto another guy's lap and trashed me in front of our friends, I was already reeling. She'd spent what felt like forever, probably 10 minutes straight, tearing into me, saying I was a lousy husband, a terrible friend, and couldn't satisfy her in the bedroom. I stood there, stunned, as she aired our private life to everyone. I knew we'd had some struggles in that department before, and maybe she was just letting her real thoughts slip out while drunk, but it still hurt like hell to hear it so publicly. Then came the moment that truly knocked the wind out of me, a blow I didn't see coming. She wasn't done with her tirade, and she hit me with something even crueler. She announced to the whole room that she bet her dying father, her terminally ill dad, could please her better than I ever could. That was it. Those words were like a punch to the gut, so vile and disrespectful I could barely process them. It wasn't just an attack on me. It was a twisted way of dragging her own father's illness into her drunken rant. I couldn't believe the person I married could say something so awful. I didn't say a word. I just stood up slowly, my head spinning, and walked out of the room. My heart was pounding, and I felt like the floor was falling out from under me. I couldn't stay in that house, surrounded by our friends who'd just witnessed my humiliation. As soon as I was out of sight, I broke down completely. Tears streamed down my face, and I sobbed harder than I ever have in my life. This was my wife, the woman I thought loved me, and she'd just torn me apart in the most public, brutal way possible. The pain was overwhelming, like nothing I'd ever felt before. I couldn't go back home that night, so I drove to my brother's place and crashed there, trying to make sense of it all. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was blowing up, 10 missed calls, and close to 100 text messages from her. I had a sinking feeling I knew what they'd say, and I wasn't wrong. Steeling myself, I opened my phone and started scrolling through the flood of texts. At first, her messages were full of apologies. She went on and on about how sorry she was for what she'd done, begging me to come back home and talk things out. I could have predicted that reaction. It's what people do when they know they've messed up big time. But about halfway through the barrage, her tone shifted. She started getting nasty, calling me heartless and blaming me for not responding right away. It was like, because I wasn't rushing to forgive her, she decided to lash out again, painting me as the bad guy. She claimed she was just struggling with her dad's illness, and that the alcohol had gotten the better of her, making her say things she didn't mean. But I wasn't buying it. That excuse felt like a flimsy cover for what she really felt, and I couldn't shake the truth in her drunken words. Eventually, I gathered my courage and went back to our house to grab the rest of my stuff. I wasn't planning to stay long, just get what I needed and go. When I walked in, I didn't even look at her. I brushed past her, my mind made up, and said flat out that I wanted a divorce. It felt like the only way forward after everything she'd done. I couldn't live with someone who'd hurt me like that, especially not in front of others. Predictably, she fell apart. She started sobbing uncontrollably, pleading with me not to leave her. She promised she'd change, swearing she'd never betray me or our love like that again. She threw out every desperate plea in the book, trying to convince me she could make things right. But I wasn't moved. After all the horrible things she'd said, especially that cruel comment about her dying dad, and the fact that she'd chosen to humiliate me by cozying up to another guy in front of everyone, her promises rang hollow. I kept thinking about how she'd picked his lap to sit on, how she'd gone out of her way to disrespect me so publicly. No amount of tears could erase that. Part of me wanted to believe her, to think we could fix this and go back to how things were. But every time I considered it, her words from that night echoed in my head, sharp and stinging, reminding me why I'd left in the first place. They weren't just drunken ramblings. They were a window into how she really saw me, and I couldn't unhear them. So, I kept packing my things, tuning out her sobs, and walked out the door for good. Now that I've had some time to sit back and think, I'm left wondering if I'm the one in the wrong here. Am I overreacting by wanting to end our marriage over what she did and said while drunk? I know she's going through a lot with her dad's illness, and that's heartbreaking. I've been there, and I tried to support her every step of the way. But I don't think that justifies what she did. Plenty of people deal with grief without drowning in alcohol and tearing down the person they're supposed to love most. Her actions weren't just hurtful. They were a deliberate choice to disrespect me, from insulting my manhood to saying her dying father could do better than me. And she did it all in front of our friends, no less. I keep coming back to this. I'm only 25, and my life's just getting started. Maybe I got married too young, but that doesn't mean I have to stay in a relationship that's toxic. I don't have a ton of assets tied up with her, so I'm hoping a divorce won't be too messy. My plan is to talk to a lawyer, figure out my options, and move on. I've learned my lesson about rushing into marriage, and if I ever go down that road again, I'm waiting until my 30s and taking my time to really know the person. For now, I'm done letting her guilt trip me or letting her friends make me feel like I'm the villain. She crossed a line, and I'm not going back, no matter how much she begs. Her actions showed me who she really is, and I deserve better than that. As I sit here processing everything that's happened, I'm more convinced than ever that my wife's actions showed her true colors, and I can't let myself get sucked back in by her tears or empty promises. She's been begging me to stay, crying her eyes out and swearing she'll change, but I'm not falling for it. Those waterworks don't erase the fact that she humiliated me in front of our friends, sitting on another guy's lap, trashing my manhood, and saying her dying father could satisfy her better than me. That kind of cruelty doesn't just vanish with an apology, and I'm done pretending it can. It's not just her I have to deal with now. Her friends are starting to blow up my phone, trying to guilt-trip me into giving her another chance. They're saying she's going through a tough time with her dad's illness, and that I should be more understanding. I'm bracing for her family to jump in too, piling on the pressure to make me feel like I'm the bad guy for walking away. Even my own family might chime in, urging me to reconsider because marriage is hard, or whatever. But I'm standing firm. I can't let their voices drown out what I know is right. Her behavior wasn't a one-off mistake. It was a glimpse into how she really feels, and I'm not going back to that. I've been reading some advice from folks online, and it's helped me see things clearer. One guy put it perfectly. I'm not wrong for wanting out, and I shouldn't let her hide behind her dad's illness as an excuse for what she did. Her grief doesn't give her a free pass to tear me down like that, especially not in front of everyone. She said those things because she meant them, choosing to hurt me publicly to make sure I felt every word. It doesn't matter if she's sorry now. Some lines, once crossed, can't be uncrossed. Even if I tried to forgive her, I'd never be able to shake those words. Every time we get close, her insults would creep back into my mind, haunting me and making it impossible to move forward. Staying with her would just mean more pain down the road, and I'm not signing up for that. She might act like the perfect wife for a while if I took her back, but deep down, I know this is who she is. Something tells me she hasn't been the most loyal partner even before this mess, and I can't ignore that gut feeling. A woman online echoed the same sentiment, and her perspective hit hard. She said, as a woman, she's certain my wife meant every word she spilled while drunk. That's how she truly sees me. Women often know exactly what they're feeling, she said, and my wife laid it all bare that night. She made her choice, and now she has to live with the consequences. This woman warned me not to let my wife, her friends, or her family guilt me into staying, and I'm taking that to heart. It's like she gets how these situations play out. how people close to my wife will rally around her and try to flip the script on me. But I'm not falling for it. She's the one who broke our marriage, not me. Another guy online gave me some straight-up advice that sealed my resolve. He said now's the time to leave, because if I go back, I'll look like a pushover who can't stand up for himself. That's not the main reason to walk away, but it's a real concern. If I stay, she'll play nice for a bit, but it's only a matter of time before she pulls something like this again. It could happen over and over, wearing me down until I'm a shell of myself. Worse, she might twist things to make it seem like I'm the problem, leaving me on my own terms while she plays the victim. The good thing is, enough people saw what happened that night. Our friends were there, and they know the truth. I've got support if I need it, and that gives me the confidence to move forward. This guy even suggested a sneaky move. Tell her I want to work things out, move back in, and quietly secure my finances and valuables before filing for divorce. He jokingly added I could buy a motorcycle first and let her deal with half the debt. I chuckled at that, but I'm not about creating more drama. I just want out, clean and simple. The pressure's definitely coming, though. Her friends are already laying into me, saying she's struggling and that she loves me deep down. Her family's probably next, and they'll lean on her grief to make me feel guilty. But I'm not buying it. She doesn't love me, not the way I deserve to be loved. Her actions screamed that loud and clear when she chose to humiliate me in front of everyone. Sure, she's hurting because her dad's dying, and I feel for her on that front. I was there for her through it all, supporting her 100%, but that doesn't excuse what she did. Plenty of people go through loss without turning to alcohol and hurting the person they're supposed to cherish. She made her choices, and I'm making mine. At 25, I've got my whole life ahead of me. Maybe I jumped into marriage too soon, but that's a lesson learned. I'm ready to talk to a lawyer, figure out how to untangle things, and start fresh. Since we're young and don't have a ton of shared assets, I'm hoping it won't be too complicated. I'm done letting her or anyone else make me feel like I'm the one in the wrong. Her tears, her friends' guilt trips, her family's pleas, they won't change what happened. She showed me who she is, and I'm walking away with my head held high. Down the road, I'll be smarter about love. I won't rush into anything until I'm older, maybe in my 30s, and I'll take my time to really know someone before committing. For now, I'm focused on moving forward, leaving this mess behind, and building a life where I'm respected and valued.